Residents of Darwin's biggest Aboriginal district, Bagot, are using art in a very public bid to protect their community. In the face of what they say is a threat to Bagot's very existence, a grassroots protest has emerged. In a highly visible statement, residents of the community are painting their long and often tragic history onto the buildings. Avani Dias reports.
It's a place known for its long grasses, alcohol abuse and trouble. But for around 300 people, Bagot is home. These buildings have witnessed much of that troubled past. Now the community has decided to reclaim its heritage and portray its checkered history from its own perspective.
People around Australia, they really want to know about what we're doing on our own country, how we began and why we are doing this. It's just showing that it means something to us deep down in our heart.
During this 6-week project, residents will help paint murals all over their houses, the clinic and the street. Wedged between two main roads, much of Darwin's population drives past Bagot every day, but few may be aware of its long history or uncertain future. Residents feel Bagot is ignored and hope these murals will tell their stories in their own voices.
You just have this really three-dimensional concept.
The artists guiding this project come from completely different backgrounds. Andrew Burke is a street artist from Melbourne. Territory artist Les Huddleston creates traditional Aboriginal paintings. Dottie Fijo is imbuing some of her paintings with memories of growing up in Bagot.
There's that relationship between the traditional style that a lot of the local Indigenous artists already paint and my, more contemporary version of that. We'll just get you to continue in the direction that I've been painting.
Andrew and Les worked together on the first mural, a child named Geordie who is being fostered in the community, looking from behind a fence. It'll be the first thing people see as they drive into Bagot. It represents the Retta Dixon home. Established in 1946, it was a hostel for Indigenous children, many taken from their families as part of the stolen generations. Some residents of the home gave harrowing accounts of sexual abuse at Royal Commission hearings in Darwin last year.
In those days, they did have fence up for the children because it was like the half-castes, the full blood, they have to be apart from each other. They was taken away.
Geordie lives in this home, known in Bagot as the Children's House, and it's where his carer, Valimina White, lives. Over the years, she's fostered nearly 40 children.
A little help most of the kids I grew up come and see. All of my house is all about children. It doesn't matter where they come from.
Valimina says she's been bringing up kids since she was 9 years old, and her house is where children come to play.
But it's good to have them around. If we don't have them, there's no future for us.
Bagot was established in the 1930s by the Commonwealth as an alternative to another compound in Darwin's CBD, which was established to segregate Aboriginal people from the wider community. In the 1960s, it was seen as a way to keep Aboriginal people off the streets, at a time when the city was segregated along racial lines.
4 fibro walls and a tin roof. No water or light. It's a big jump from under a gum tree, said the superintendent.
In the olden days, we only had bits and pieces. There was no houses whatsoever. In those days, they actually call it the Silver City.
Why did they call it the Silver City?
By the tin houses.
In the 70s, Bagot played a big part in the land rights movement. Dottie's parents were involved in sit-down protests.
They wanted to take Bagot off us, and that's the only way that it could be stopped.
Natalie Howard's family has played a big role in Bagot. She wanted the artwork on her house to represent her family's contribution.
Fathers, uncles, brothers, cousins all played for the Wanderers Football Club, and so the eagle, represents something meaningful to us.
Kick enough score to beat St Mary's.
The defending NTFL champions are known as the Eagles. The bird of prey is also on Bagot's logo and was designed by Natalie's uncle. Natalie is the driving force behind a women's team started 3 years ago.
Love to, give the younger girls something to look up to.
The old milkwood tree in her yard even holds a sea eagle's nest. One resident was born under it. Over the years, residents have complained about the poor condition of their housing and the time it takes the Aboriginal Housing Corporation to make simple repairs. Natalie hopes the painting project will change attitudes.
Everyone that drives past my house now says, I want, something like that too.
The poor state of finances in the Northern Territory means that government cannot keep funding places like this.
But Bagot is again facing a fight for its survival, with moves afoot to make the land available to the general public.
Why haven't these people come to Bagot and speak to us?
The Indigenous corporation that runs the community has gone into administration due to crippling debts. Residents fear the government could use it as a trigger to turn the community into a suburb. The artists finished their last painting, and it's linked to the first. It features Rossi Fijo, who survived the Retta Dixon home. This tiny community is holding out against Darwin's ravenous expansion, one stroke at a time.
I've never been ashamed of where I lived, even when, we had only dirt roads. So I'm proud of Bagot, or living in Bagot any which way, would never any other way.